So, I know you can't give any spoilers, but is there any particular thing that you loved about season 4 that you're looking forward to people seeing as much as you can talk about?
In relation to my character or just in
Oh
general?
yeah, in relation to your character.
I think that for me, one of the most exciting things about this season is that we really get to delve into Connor's story of identity, and he gets to figure out and wrestle with really who he is and who he wants to be. It's something that we've scratched the surface on in the past, and we've alluded to it, but this season we're picking up those story threads that from way back in season 2 when we first introduced the character, and now we get to fully kind of go in and explore those great themes and those two influences of the Superman and the Lex Luthor, and how they coalesce into this one person, Connor, and the different directions that he could go potentially. That's, I think, the most intriguing thing.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, my question is, where do we pick up with Connor at the start of the season? Where is he at emotionally?
Well, it's interesting because after the events of season 3, he's just had his first love, he's had his first heartbreak, and I feel like developmentally that was quite significant for him. So he's not the same Connor that he was at the beginning of season 3. So he's kind of learned, and he's done a lot of growing and maturing, and in the same sense, it'll become clear when the season is out that by the end of the 4th season, he is so far from where he began at the beginning that it's almost like he's a different person entirely. There's so much growth and so much development, and this incredible character arc that takes place in season 4 that I'm really excited for people to see, because it's not often that you get to have such a journey, you know, within the one character, within one season of a TV show. So, yeah, I think that's something I'm looking forward to sharing with the audience.
Is there an episode that you're looking most forward to fancying?
Oh, I think there are some bangers this season. There are some really strong episodes. I've seen episode 1. That's the only episode I've seen that was pretty much finished. I think it's great. It's one of my probably favorite episodes of the whole series. So I'm excited for fans to see the premiere. That first episode is really great. But in terms of what's to come, I think for Connor, it's episode 6 that I'm going to be watching keenly to see how people react to that episode. It's tough to talk about without giving anything away, but yeah, episode 6 for Superboy, for sure.
I gotta admit that the accent kind of caught me off guard for a second on the show, you know.
Yeah, pretty much all of the Titans are Australian or British.
Oh, wow.
Which is cool.
So something that's kind of been in the back of my mind, bothered me for a while, is that you have 2 superpowered beings on the team that can end a lot of the issues that you guys have in like one episode. How do you kind of just like get around like removing Superboy constantly from solving the issue quickly in the show?
It's a difficult balancing act for the writers, and it's tough to pull off, because you're right. Any kind of threat that the Titans face, the audience is going to be sitting there going like, hang on, well, couldn't Superboy just do this? And and you could apply that to Starfire and Raven. And one of the other amazing things about this season is that we're dealing with villains that are incredibly powerful, and they wield dark magic, and fans of the comics and other media will know that Kryptonians are notoriously vulnerable to magic. So one of the big things for Connor this season is coming to terms with that vulnerability, because this is a guy that hasn't been alive for very long, but during that time that he's been alive, he's been invincible. He's never really lost a fight. He's never really had true difficulty, no one's been able to hurt him physically. And all of a sudden he's encountering these people that have these terrifying magical abilities that can really just lay him out. So this season in particular really tackles that issue in a big way in terms of bringing in adversaries that present a genuine challenge and a threat to the Titans.
Okay.
Hey, so I was wondering, like, I mean, because, given that you're playing Superboy and you've seen the journey of his growth thus far, I'm pretty sure obviously you've been familiar with the comics and knowing the nature between, like, Superboy and some of his fellow Titans members. Were there any particular moments in this season that you feel like represent some of those elements, like, between you and Dick Grayson? Did we get more scenes with you and Dick Grayson this time around this season?
Yeah. Big time. I think, again, I keep going up all these dot points here. That another one of the great things about this season is the interplay between the characters and those dynamics kind of between the characters within the team. So you've got the brotherly relationship with Beast Boy, you've got the pseudo-fatherly relationship with Dick Grayson, you've got this new kind of a budding friendship with Tim Drake, who's now joined the team, and all of these are kind of unique in their own way, and I think fans are really going to respond to those specific little interactions and how those relationships are unique and are differentiated by within the team. I don't want to give too much away, but those relationships, particularly the relationship with Dick Grayson, play a big role in Connor's story this season, and Connor has to rely on his family, and like any kind of kid growing up, he wants to rebel, but then he comes back, and you see those relationships shift, and you see the just how important those people are to him in his life.
Cool. So your character, your character in the show in general, really reach into some far corners of the DC universe.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, as an actor, when you read on the script that they're going to be bringing something like that to life, do you lean more anxious or do you lean more excited?
Excited, because I'm a fan of all this stuff. I'm a fan of the genre. I've read some comics, I watched a lot of the cartoons growing up, and that stuff, whenever I see anything new, just makes me giddy and excited. And then maybe on the day of shooting, if there's something particularly significant that we have to pull off that I know is going to come under a lot of scrutiny, then I might all of a sudden start to feel the anxiety and the pressure of that. But that's really not conducive to creativity, so you kind of have to squash that down and allow yourself to be creative and trust what's on the page and trust all of the talented people that you're working with that are going to bring this story to life and introduce these elements that, as you say, people are quite attached to.
Any time that an actor steps into any role that's Superman related,
Right.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's such an iconic role. How has that kind of pressure changed over the course of the time that you played the character, the different seasons?
That's a good question. I think at the beginning is when I felt the most pressure, when no one had kind of seen what we were going to do or what I was going to be like in the role, and people had a lot of ideas and preconceived kind of notions of who this character is and what they wanted to see. And once they were kind of presented with our interpretation and me in the role, I've really been feeling the love from the fans, and I really appreciate that. I'm really proud of what we've done. I'm proud of the past two seasons, but particularly this season, I'm proud of how we've developed the character and the different directions we've taken him in, because there's still so much to mine there, and there's still so much depth to this character that we're uncovering and finding, and I think the fans are really going to respond to that. So now my approach now is just one of confidence and excitement, and I feel a certain sense of ownership now that maybe I didn't really have in season 2, and I kind of feel like I know the character very well now, and I in some ways I have somewhat of an authority in terms of I know which creative choices are gonna pay off, and maybe which ones we should steer away from, and that only just comes from time and time in the role, and that pressure isn't something that I really worry about.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.